same people. He's got several recordings.
Okay, I think we're live. Let me just make sure it's live on my end. Live posts.
We are.
We're live. Cool. Let me edit this. Customization. Monetization. Have to turn money on. There we go. We are live. Don't worry, everyone. I've done it way too early. It's fine.
So professional.
It's fine. This is what people come here for. Okay, good. Greetings and welcome to just Canny Roller Crit Live. I guess that's what we should call it. I'll probably edit it into Critcast. Yeah, Critcast. It's nice. It's a brand I never use. I think the Americans like, John, we love you. You make a podcast every 6 months. It's great. I was like, yeah, it's depressing. But it's fine. It's all my fault. It literally is.
Because I'm always like, John, do you want to do a podcast this week? And like, well, I can do these 3 days in these specific times. And I'm like, but when? When, John?
It's just the perils of shift work. So.
No, you're telling me. That's why I got out of that biz.
But hello, it's good to have you back, Scrivo. I mean, if you watched the Goonhammer Open Live, you would have seen Scrivo. So how have you been?
Yeah, good. I have played a game of Kill Team since then. We've got like in my local club, we're doing like a beginners like round robin league, but like in a really casual, teaching each other how to play the game because a lot of them are very new.
Yeah.
So my game on Friday 2 weeks ago was against my friend Martin. And he'd played one game with Angels of Death, so
nice.
Us doing a mirror match was kind of good. And it was very much a game where I was going, right, I'm going to do this because of this, and explaining stuff. And we ended up, it was a really good little game that ended as a 13-13 draw. And I was like, that's cool. For a learning game, I like it when it's not just like, oh, I've just stove someone in and they won't have learned from it.
Yes.
So that was nice. But yeah. It was good fun, and it was nice to get back playing because I haven't played for weeks on end.
Yeah, I actually have.
Building.
I know what you mean because I actually haven't played. What do you call it? I haven't played up until I started recording the Blood and Zeal stuff. So.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, it was like nice because I played at an event this weekend at the Sheffield Open. The Sheffield Super Major by the UKTC.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I took Hand of the Archon. It was the last event I could enjoy of the previous meta we were in, which was great. So it was pretty fun. Played 6 games.
Less thematic though, right?
Yeah, so it wasn't really a thematic meta. But it was like really fun. So because it was so varied and just everyone running, like there was no, how do you call it? I think everyone was running unique factions. So we had 19 players. There was supposed to be 21, but 2 dropped. And it was weird because the South Coast GT ended up being 57 players.
Yeah, good numbers.
Something like that, 55. And then the Manchester one was 20. So we were expecting Sheffield to be like, oh, wow, it's going to be 60 or 40. And we found out it was 20. But it was still well run. Like the missions weren't great, but the missions weren't chosen by the TO because the TO had to step up. But you know what? It's this weird thing about the UK, because if you weren't in the UK, you don't know anything about the UKTC, but it's like frontline gaming, but more, how do you describe it?
More current, like the equivalent to when you look at ITC and frontline gaming back in kind of like 8th edition, where the format was dictated by them, you got your points, your internet points via it, all that sort of thing. The terrain was very specific to that. So UKTC's like that. So at least for 40k, there's very specific terrain that you use. Most people play their practice games using it, even their club games. And then as a result, there's these super majors. Most small tournaments run their format as well. So it's all kind of tied into each other. And I think the Kill Team stuff's not quite as unified, I'd say.
They're trying. So I think the main problem is they're trying to find a main Kill Team TO, and instead now they have multiple Kill Team TOs. But it's a very streamlined kind of event. Because if you're from America, you're like, oh, frontline gaming, you've got all these games, you've got stores, like you've got a storefront, you've got like seminars, you've got all these kinds of different things. Even when you go to stuff like the Cherokee Open and stuff, or like the Atlantic City Open, you don't get that at the UKTC. To be fair, this time the food vendor was all right. Like it was just microwave burgers and stuff, but it's like the 40k players destroyed the toilets day one. It was great. I was just like, wow, they didn't even wait this time. They were just like, oh, wow.
I love that. That was the one message you sent me about your weekend was like, John, this has happened. And I'm like, oh, thanks. Just what I needed to hear. Whilst I was actually up in Nottingham just going, this is a lovely, pleasant environment I'm in.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like, I remember when I last went to the London GT 2 years ago. But after day one, the toilets were all broken. So my friend who was running it, he would just like, oh, just use the disabled toilets. They can't reach it because it's too far to walk. But it was disgusting. And you don't get that at American events. Everyone's like, oh, it's 40k players. It's like, no, it's UK 40k players. You go to American events and it's actually really nice. Like,
you go to an event that's just Age of Sigmar players, it's actually okay. Yeah, I found comparatively.
I think there were 19 kill team players, supposed to be 21. I think they were about the same age of Sigmar. We outnumbered Halo.
Oh, Halo Flashpoint. Yep. We did more of that. Yeah.
And then Horus Heresy outnumbered us both, and then like 2/3 of the Hall of 3/4 was 40k. So, well, but I don't even think there was. Yeah, I don't even think there was that many 40k players. But Sheffield, I last went to Sheffield when I went for Underworlds. But I went instead of the center, it was on the edge. But it was nice. It was just I haven't been able to play much, so it was just nice playing again. So
yeah,
I think I'm going to go to the Bristol one next, maybe, because even though I have a golden ticket, also I just want the experience. But also, so the interesting thing is the golden ticket situation. So last year UKTC paid for all the golden tickets for like flights, right?
Yeah.
This year they've said they will and then backtracked, and I don't blame them. Because if you look at it, they're like giving double the amount of golden tickets, and it's only going to get more expensive to fly to America due to certain things happening in America. So especially when
golden ticket tariffs, yeah.
Well, so the thing is, look, 40k, they will likely pay for the 40k golden tickets because 40k gets minimum 300 players every time they run an event. So obviously that's going to make it. Kill team, we need to get way more than 64, and the most we've gone at UKTC was 64. So it's like. I'm not blaming the UKTC. I think it's just like they're in a tough position and you can't expect them to pay for all these tickets when people wanted more tickets. So they're getting more tickets, but it doesn't mean they're going to be paid for. So
I think it's interesting because to me, a 2-day kill team event needs to be really special.
Yes.
Whilst a one-dayer, I can go to an event, play 3-4 games, get a definitive answer out of like who's going to have won the event. And I don't need to play the second day. So I think culturally, I think a lot of kill team players look at doing a 2-dayer and go, I'm not sure I want to.
Yeah, because the issue is Warhammer World does it well. The weird thing, even though, so the Goonhammer Open we just did in March and we're doing it again in May. This time we're doing 1 day, 4 rounds. We sold out, but we actually made less money than running the 2-dayer because the 2-dayer we got 30 people, but the ticket was nearly, not twice the price, but like 1.5 times. So it's technically more profitable to run 2-dayers. Instead of getting 48, you get 30. But it's like, the problem is it is a lot to ask for. And it has to be special, as you said.
It's a cost as well, right? Because the whole thing of staying over, like if I do a super major for 40k, or even if I was doing it for kill team, I'd be going up on the Friday. I'd stay over then, stay over on the Saturday, and then travel back. So it's a big ask.
Yeah, so we're like experimenting with what we can do now. But I think generally where the game is at, while it's growing so much, I think it's better just to do 1-dayers and leave the 2-dayers for like, I guess the LGT. The LGT usually hits around 60 players. And then also, just like Warhammer World, basically. There's nothing wrong with the UKTC doing 2-dayers. The problem is like Manchester was 2 days, but 20. Sheffield was 2 days, but 20. But the Bristol one, I think is probably going to sell out at 40, 48. They might get more players. And then South Coast GT sold out at 64
Seems
as
a bit more geographical then. Like, is it
maybe
where the kind of more active and deeply competitive angles of the community are? I don't know, because like South Coast, there was a lot of the Londoners going to it, right?
Well, we had 6 of the Londoners go from our event to theirs. And the funny thing is, if they actually didn't, we would have had more players than South Coast GT. But it's just a funny thing. But oddly, they got to South Coast
You're
GT.
Not better at all.
No, but it's as a TO. But the thing is, South Coast GT, at least 10 of the people there were just from that city in the south coast that they were like, oh, we didn't know they were running an event. When I posted up to Sheffield, that was in Sheffield, people were like, oh wow, I'm from Sheffield. I didn't know there was a super major in Sheffield, which is just great. I was like, great marketing, guys. Not just for 40k, I mean, not for Kill Team, it was just everything. But yeah, you know, I would like to say farewell to the meta because I had fun with Hand of the Archon. I came second. I lost my final game by 1 point. It would have gone either way. There were a lot of like crazy dice moments, but because it was based on opponent's win percentage, I got screwed. So I went from first to second. So it was like fine. It was still really fun. Hello everyone in the chat. Yes, Imperial Knights. Can't wait to play them. Kill Team self-thematic. I've actually even got a Ravener. I'm breaking so many NDAs. Look at this brand new Ravener, totally new. Oh, look at it's great. Ravener's so hot right now. But yeah, this meta is just like, yeah, you know, the new meta. The interesting thing at the UKTC in Sheffield, I was chatting to most people, and everyone was just like, we like where the game is at. We don't like where the game is going. And we were talking, and even like one of my friends, we were hitting up a ton of events, and now we're looking at it going, if Games Workshop doesn't really do anything to Sanctifiers early, we probably will just dial down the events. Like I was looking, I've already locked into my April events, and then I have an event at the end of May in London, and I'm really not sure if I want to play in the London event anymore because I know there's going to be so many Sanctifiers, and it's just not fun because the meta is basically I'll let you speak of this word. The meta is now basically Sanctifiers, Goremongers, and Elite Kill Teams.
Yeah, of which I'm playing 2 of them. Right. But it's gonna be interesting because like I've been kind of, if I go to events and it's not Warhammer World, I've been going to the Leicester Kill Team guys.
Oh yes,
their kind of vibe's a bit more chill.
Yeah.
And I have a funny feeling they're going to have that weird situation where they've normally, like, when Felgor felt a bit too good at times, like when they were first kind of there and they're a bit like everyone was struggling a bit, and Brood Brothers, there was 1 or 2 people playing them. That was it, out of like 24 people. So it'll be a weird situation because that's my next proper event. I'm like, I'm not too worried. If anything, I'm going to be the problem taking my Goremongers with me.
Yes.
But I'm a Khorne player. I'm allowed to.
Well, it's just like, I think generally people are going to be quite chill because it kind of reminds me of what happened. So we did, when we're doing the stats with Smiles, Lies, Gunfire, we were like, oh, look, the Sanctifier games and Goremongers already. And they had ridiculous win rates, but it was only from like 20 games or something. And then we started digging. So we looked, and then we were like, I thought all the games were just from, not this week, but the week before. Like the week after they went up for pre-order. And then we did some more digging, and we found out it actually came up from the Saturday they went up for pre-order, and they were all in Spain. And the guy who did it is now, I think he's literally on something like a 95% win rate with Sanctifiers over 3 events, and he's ranked 3rd in the world for ITC. And then this weekend just gone past, there was another Spanish event on the Saturday. Oh no, it was on the Sunday for their big major tournament for people who didn't make the top cut for day 2, and 2nd and 3rd were Sanctifiers, one by that same guy and the other one by Ace, the former world double number 1, with fully painted rosters and everything.
Like, irrelevant if people have got the models early. Why are events running them before they've been released? That's normally like normal policy, right?
Yeah, so the interesting thing is, so if you go on like the Command Point Discord, every time a new team comes out, one of their major TOs will go on like the competitive chat and beg people, when like, please add these factions to Best Coast Parents as soon as possible. And they do, because like there's GW stuff and there's Best Coast Parent stuff. This is the first time they've done it where they've been added early and then Spain has just immediately used them. And the issue is, it's like, I understand, basically, like, I agree. I think it's crap. Like, no events were, like, it was basically just Spain and 1 American event that allowed them this weekend. And it's just been Spain otherwise. The issue is Spain seems to have kind of lost their chill. And it was chatting to people at the weekend at UKTC, and like everyone was just really annoyed by it. They were like, Some people believe they're playtesters and think it shows corruption by GW, and other people just think it's not cool. Like, just wait like everyone else. Just wait 2 weeks. So,
and it highlights again that there is retailers out there that seem to be giving stuff out way too early, which is really quite frustrating, because that's breaking the rules that they've actually signed an agreement on. It's just, that's really, really stinky.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm in a lot of store chats, and I see stuff where they're like, "Oh, these are for pre-order. You can collect them just after you paid." And I'm just like, "Wow, I don't think that's going to last much longer." But the biggest one was, so there was someone leaked the rules for Blood and Zeal, and it was a store guy somewhere like near the South Coast GT, oddly enough, and he released it on the Wednesday, took down the video, and then did an unboxing of a single team on the Thursday. FYI, that guy, I think Games Workshop are going to use his store and him as like an example, because he's going to lose this trade agreement. I believe the original plan was, like, in general, if you break your trade agreement, you get, like, not blacklisted, but I think you get all your shipments delayed by a month. Like, you can't basically order stuff.
I think it's you don't get stuff until it's released.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, which stops any of that happening. And also it just means that you can't guarantee that you've got the stock to then do pre-orders, which is what a lot of this stuff thrives off of, is the FOMO, right?
Yeah, but I believe with this guy, they're just going to go like, we're going to skip that step. You're just going to lose your trade license, which is a shame, because
it's a shame. But they also don't need that person, right?
Yeah, exactly. So this store, that guy who did that, who was trying to break it onto YouTube with 50 subs, has basically killed his store for leaking. So it was just kind of like, and it wasn't even subtle. Like, you know, people have been getting it.
I saw the video and I went, what? I was like, I knew that they weren't even going to be getting to shops necessarily until like the Wednesday. The fact they'd even done it already, I was like, my goodness.
Yeah, and then there was, there was something like someone bought the Brutal and Cunning box for £240 off eBay and then just did an unboxing on Reddit. And it was just kind of like, he was like, oh yeah, I'm even though I'm paying like quadruple the price, I just want to get it out there for everyone. And it was just like, I want to get there first. And I was just like, dude, no one will remember you after this box is gone. Like, but
I just remember that happening, and I was like, it was 2 weeks before Christmas, so I was a bit busy thinking about other things.
But it's like, it shows how popular the game is now that people are doing these kind of leaks. But also, I do feel like, even though people go like, oh, you're just upset other people leaked it, I'm more upset for stores, because stores are going to, like, the issue is a lot of stores play by the rules, and with stores leaking stuff early, like, they don't realize. I think it's like, because my friend was telling it for Game, he used to work for Game in the UK, which sells like video games, and if your store was caught breaking street date, like, the game companies would actually get involved and bring legal action. So it's like, everyone thinks it's, you know, Warhammer's just, it's just fine, it's literally like deadly serious.
No, so you have it with other companies like Lego and Pokemon Company, that if you put stuff out early and they catch you doing it, you just don't get to stop the stuff anymore. Yeah. It's as simple as, because the stuff's so in demand. And I think Games Workshop are at that point now. So,
not a huge fan of teams being legal in events when pre-orders go live. I agree, they shouldn't have been. It was literally only Spain. No one else was doing that apart from Spain. I'm going to play Sanctifiers, but their design is bad. Even if they weren't ultra strong, it's just fun to set some measure and move 8 operatives in a row. Especially, let's talk about Sanctifiers, right? So if you don't know Sanctifiers, my Sanctifier review. Sanctifiers are the most broken team we've probably seen, I would say. Yeah. And the issue is they have a multifaceted level of brokenness, to the point where they've reintroduced a mechanic that was so broken when Kill Team 21, the last edition, first launched, that they had to emergency nerf Custodes. And instead of just one operative doing double moves, they've given it to the whole team. I felt like it was ironic, because I did a video praising GW for learning from their mistakes, and then they released Sanctifiers. But the main issue is they have now... the issue is it's a melee team, but most of the operatives are 4-5 damage base, and their shooting is actually really good, because even though it's 6-inch range, everything hits on 2s, and it's free damage. So even if they can't fight you, they'll just flame you. They're also -1 damage if you do 3 or more damage. So even though there's 7 wounds, they count more like 9 or 10. And literally, they swarm the board. I'm editing the battle report, which is going to go up tomorrow, and I think I'm the first battle report that shows how they should play, and I'm not even using them in full power, and it's not fun. Like, The issue is, the funniest thing, I read Sanctifier chats, and like, you know, people like talking tactics and stuff, and I just look at these people just going like, they're like, oh, how should we get closer to our opponent's drop zone turning point 1? You know, how effective can I swarm the battlefield? Because the other thing is, which I realized after the battle report is, so lead the procession is the leader's ability. When he activates, he checks for everyone under the sermon, not within 6 inches under the sermon. So the missionaries with holy relics always count as benefiting from the sermon. Even if they're on other ends of the board, and preachers always benefit from the sermon if they're on objectives. So when you activate your leader, you can move those operatives in any position you want. Preachers have to stay around objectives, but it means you have your big horde, then you have 2 missionaries roaming the flanks, with like preachers, so they have complete board control. And like, I was considering banning them from the Goonhammer Open in May, but I'm not. Instead, I'm going to give an award to the person who plays or beats the most Sanctifiers. Whichever, they can't be Sanctifier players though. No. That's the important thing. But I know a lot of TOs are talking about banning them. A lot of people are now struggling to get pickup games. Like, me and my friends have basically gone like, look, we've played enough into Sanctifiers. I would not like to play them in pickup games. If I play them events, I'll have to. And I know Sanctifier players are already posting like they're struggling to get pickup games. And it's not to knock the players. The team is just so powerful. It's just not fun to play. Like, they're in your face turning point 1. And then if you respect them, they just sit there. And
That's a shame, because the models are beautiful. And there's a lot of throwbacks to really old 40k stuff that I really appreciated. But now, literally, seeing the rules being that good, I looked at them and went, I was going to keep a set of these, but now I just don't want to. It's kind of tainted them a bit for me, which is a shame.
Yeah, it's like, the thing is, I still have confidence in the balance lead and how they'll balance them. The issue is, this team will very likely get nerfed. The issue is not if, but when.
And how badly? Like, does it get to the point where they're then unplayable? Is it a situation where they just hit them a bit too hard?
I think the problem is this team needs a complete rewrite. It shouldn't have launched the way it has. And Goremongers are good, but the problem, you watch the battle report and you'll see the problem Goremongers have into Sanctifiers, because it's too much. The fact they have Ceaseless. Personally, the way I would nerf Sanctifiers is their damage negation doesn't work against crits. The lead the procession
that should never work that way.
Yeah, lead the procession is a 4-inch bubble that you have to be within range of the leader of. Can't use it turning point 1, and you have to do the same action as the leader, because when the leader activates to move, fall back, or charge, everyone within that range can either not. They don't have to do the same movement he does. They can do a move, a reposition, charge, or fall back. So they can all do stuff independently.
That's too much.
Yeah, and the leader should go down to 8 wounds. The fact the leader is 10 wounds, 5/5 damage, hitting on freeze with -1 damage, can redirect and can shut you down with his 6-inch aura. That aura needs to go down to 3 inches, as well as the
What about it being a counteract instead? So make it a really small shunt instead.
No, they just need to reduce all the ranges, and they need to change the team so drastically. And it's like, I've played them several times against my low teams that are blast heavy, wreck them. You have to stay close to user sermon. So this is something I keep debunking. I'm really unfortunate. Only bad players will get blasted, because blast is 2 inches, right? It's very easy. The fact that you don't have to bunch up with lead the procession, and it's a 12-inch bubble because it's a 6-inch radius from the leader. You have no reason to be within 2. Any good player can properly space so you won't get hit by blasts. And even if you throw a frag grenade at them, that frag is not doing 2/4 damage. It's doing 2/3 against them, and they will actually have a 4-up save, because they will be covered by their shield person giving them like a 4-up save. Yeah. So it's just like, it's like the funniest thing. I read these chats, I read people online, and like even in the local WhatsApp, like they're defending Sanctifiers, and they're going, Sanctifiers' main weakness is if you play them badly, they don't work. And I was just like, that's
like saying they're only good if you play them good. It's like,
this is a problem every team has. It's like, oh yeah, Sanctifiers are amazing, but if you play them badly, they're not that good. I was just like, oh, I didn't know. Damn, that's That's a good, like, the funny, I used to play a lot of TF2, and TF2 has this ability where, like, called crits, random crits, where occasionally when like a random bullet, it would do like quadruple damage. So a normal rocket does like 40 health, crit rocket will do 250 and kill you instantly. So the way they got around like nerfing their weapons was to no chance of random crits. So it was like this weapon that always does fixed damage, but there are servers who just turn off crits anyway. So it's kind of just like, oh yeah, they're really bad if you play them badly. And I was like, damn, no other team has that problem. I just look at, it's just bizarre. A lot of them are in denial. I even posted in one of the Discords, like, I was like, look, it's fine to love the team, never hate the player. It's literally Games Workshop's fault. Yeah. But there are people in denial that they will be nerfed, and they were like, and one person was like, "Oh, I'm already planning for that. I've got 3 backup teams," and I was just like, "Yeah, okay. I don't think you understand the situation." The funny thing is, like, people did say Wreckers would be an option. Wreckers can't do anything because I've seen the Wrecker game happen. The Wreckers were tabled Turning Point 2 because literally. At the end of Turning Point 1, the Sanctifiers were 4 inches from the drop zone, and then they activated. The bomb squig charged into the leader, and then the leader rolled a 3-up, and the bomb squig couldn't blow up, and then the leader activated, and everyone just fell back from him. And then it was just like, That
just sounds really not how the game should work.
Yeah, so I think what I'm planning to do is a video to show people, not like, oh, how Sanctifiers are broken, but to actually show how you play Sanctifiers, to show all their combos, to show how you can maximize them. So I want to show people how you maximize lead the possession, how you shut down your opponent, how you make sure they don't safely leave their drop zone, and if they do, then how you dismantle them. Because I think that's the only way people will realize. A lot of people don't realize how crazy their mobility is. So if I can help show people how to play them as oppressively as possible, maybe that will get the message across. If I'm new to Kill Team, if you shoot from conceal with a sniper boy, do you stay concealed? Yes, you do. Yes. The only time is he can do it once per game. So the next time he shoots,
the first time he shoots. Yes. It's specifically the first time he shoots that weapon, right?
Yeah. But it's like the problem is we were in such a good meta, and I'm just
And I think that's why it stings a little bit more, is that the game felt very interactive, like it had learned from the previous edition. Yeah. Things had been built upon. Things had been toned down where they were a bit problematic. And it was the feels bad stuff.
Yeah.
Any of the stuff that felt like a negative play experience for your opponent, they'd toned it down so that no one was literally just having to sit there and go, well, this sucks. And this is the complete, almost like whiplash back, which is just a real shame.
Yeah, because I was literally sitting. I've had Games Workshop seminars about Kill Team and the new edition, and they've talked about it publicly. The stuff they wanted to eliminate was like the Turning Point 1 Alpha Strike and crazy oppression, which this team embodies. And I think Games Workshop don't realize. So a lot of what I started mocking was like, it's so thematic, because if you look at all the Games Workshop videos, like the lead designer openly says like the rules are more thematic now, ignoring the balance aspect, which has been a problem for a while. And then the playtesters have also been parroting the thematic line, more so when it came to this Kill Team, right? And I don't think GW realize how bad it looks, right? I think coupled with what's happened with Spain using them early, people who know playtesters using them immediately, right? I think Games Workshop doesn't realize how bad the optics are for this. It looks really bad. So,
and I honestly think I have heard so few people actually say they play Kill Team not as a match play game.
Yeah.
Like, so if it's not balanced and fair in match play, a lot of people are going to switch off because most people just want to play the game in one way.
Yeah, I mean, like, so the weird thing about Kill Team, it does have this huge, like, people who just play, not competitively or casually, just play pickup games. There's we're getting a lot of people who are just tired of 40K.
Play pickup games. Yeah, it's just fun to do that. I do it all the time.
And I think the problem is, like, they don't see, like, the thing is, you will play Sanctifiers in a pickup game, and they'll either just play normally, or they'll play how Sanctifiers should play, and then you may just go, like, damn, I'm never playing against that team again.
Yeah.
But what's worse is, like, the testing team has been open that they're basically all competitive players at the moment. And the fact a competitive team apparently signed off on these is just
that's basically saying you don't want balance in a game that you're testing for balance, which to me just sounds there's something wrong there, and I can't put my finger on it, but it doesn't sound like things are working well at the moment.
Yes. So
hopefully that's not a Spanish testing team. That's all I'm going to say, because those two things being together would be very spicy.
Very bad if so. But it's like, so I used to playtest at Games Workshop, and I do understand where Games Workshop are coming from, because when I playtested Underworlds, like, you do have short deadlines, and it wouldn't be surprising if they had 2 to 4 weeks to playtest these teams, or maybe 6. Yeah. Like, if we were lucky, we had 6 to 8 weeks. That was a normal time frame. If we're in a rush, the shortest time frame we had was 2 weeks. But the other thing is, so like, Games Workshop are quite protective of their terrain, and it was very evident in Gallowdark. So Gallowdark, you could see the playtesters played a very different version of Gallowdark to what the model was, because they probably played as everything flat, which is why it's ruled as everything flat, even though it's a very like pillared terrain set.
Which I honestly think those pillars, if they were actually heavy, would change the dynamic of that game entirely.
But that's not how they that's not how they playtest it. I agree, but that's not how they playtest it, because I believe when it comes to terrain, Games Workshop are very protective over that, because they're not silly, right? You can't fully trust your playtesters, and if they do that, they can just leak it to people, or they will make their own like 3D print versions, just print it all off. But it's like,
and they'll have their own biases, right? Because they'll be playtesting it with their own teams, and there's specific teams that might benefit more from it.
So stepping on from the terrain thing, the way I can see how Sanctifiers were approved was if you played in, let's say, a terrain system where all the heavy was in the drop zones with the vantage points, and in the middle was all light terrain. Because technically, in that kind of environment, Sanctifiers need the speed to cross the board. So that's probably how they were tested, and probably how it was okay, because they're like, oh, they're going to surge up, you're going to shoot them, and then like they'll have enough numbers to then push through. But it was another interesting thing, because in the London chat, when they found out about the playtest stuff, like, not just playtest, but people using stuff early, I actually, I had an interesting chat when I was a playtester. I openly said, like, look, we should do what other game systems do, like X-Wing and even Magic the Gathering. If you're a playtester or something that's released for new, like, you can't use it for a month, the first month, and then you can.
It only feels fair, like, because you shouldn't have that advantage. And there's been problems with that for competitive Warhammer for a long time. Like, even if there wasn't an actual advantage, it was the perception of the advantage, which did a lot of damage, especially in the Age of Sigmar community at one point, where there was people jumping straight onto things like on launch day, and you're like, you've had a bit of a head start on that, mate. It just felt a bit weird.
And when it was me and my team, we raised that, and then all the other Underworlds teams said they would quit if that happened, and we were just like, oh. And then like,
was that their only reason for doing the testing then?
Basically, yeah. So
that's what that sounds like, right?
It's very difficult to be a playtester for Games Workshop. They expect you to do all these like games, and you basically do it for free, right? Yeah. So our team was ideal for them, because they had me, people who had played competitively and played competitively, but were more focused on improving the game than improving it for themselves. But the problem is, you can't expect that for everyone, and effectively that's how they pay these playtesters. So
maybe that's what it needs to be then, is moving forward. You actually have to pay people, and it be something that then they're held to account for, because it's their job.
They did put out an advert, so I know they did hire a playtest team, but I have no idea how further that's gone. So
I'm interested, because that's the next step, right? When you get to a certain size of company that you can start having paid playtesting teams, it feels a necessity, especially when the games you're putting out are led with such a match play competitive angle. Like, if you look at 40k, it is sold as a competitive game now, like 100%. Like, the narrative stuff like the Crusade is almost like an afterthought. And the same probably applies for Kill Team, I'd say. Like, how many people are actually going to look at the Blood and Zeal like bonus deck and look in the book other than to go, oh look, they've butchered that statue, cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing is, the weird thing I've noticed with Kill Team, because they've made all the rules free, it feels like they've kind of given up with the narrative aspect, because they know the books don't sell, and it's all going to be online for free, which is kind of fine-ish. But it's like for Blood and Zeal, so Tim asked, would you rather have the statue or giant cannon sheller on a vehicle? that you can detonate as or protect as the mission. I would have loved the Aquila Strongpoint, but I think that would have bumped up the cost of the box way more. I think the statue is huge enough. I actually like the statue.
The Aquila Strongpoint?
Yeah, you know, from the Apocalypse, the one that could build that giant eagle. Yeah.
It's this big.
Oh, yeah,
you were never getting that. That covers a board.
No, that's what
I'd love the idea of it.
That's what I would have.
Problem is, that's the old Chinese manufactured terrain.
Yes.
So it wouldn't happen.
It
does feel like the big guns become almost like a side note of the narrative.
Well, this is a problem I have with 40k narrative in general, because like the thing is
glacial narrative. You mean?
Well, so the problem is you have all these big things happening in 40k, and when I played 40k. I think the thing that shaped these events was that you actually had an ending to the campaign. So when you played Armageddon, the ending was effectively the Imperium managed to fend off the Orcs to a stalemate so they didn't advance. So then Gazaskul got bored and left for a second war of Armageddon. Then you had like every Tyranid High Fleet, what do you call it? Tyrannic War. The Tyranids were eventually stopped, but at a huge cost. Like in the one with Leviathan, it basically the Elder players lost so much they lost a craft world almost. And then you look at Pariah Nexus. Oh, what's going to happen with Pariah Nexus? Oh, nothing is happening at the same time. Oh, what's happening with the Tear? Oh, with that planet, you know, in the Nephilim Gateway. Oh, nothing. It's a stalemate. Oh, what's happening with the latest? What's happening with the fourth Tyrannic War? Oh, it's a stalemate.
Yeah, it's happening.
Yeah, it's happening. There's no update.
And the Lion's there, and he's not met any of his brother. He's not met his brother yet. So after 2 years, the Lion hasn't met Gilliman. So.
Yeah, and it's like, Arcs of Omen. What's happened with Arcs of Omen? They found the Lion. It's just, they've made Chaos Caliban.
And then he beat Angron up.
Yeah,
and Angron got banished again. I've got narrative blue balls, John. I'm not going to lie.
Well, the problem is they have this really good setup. Like, I'm really interested with the fourth war for Armageddon, but I know it's going to end with, and then they just stalemated. Because that's the problem. They can't, they're too nervous, either they feel like they can't finish it too early, but it's just weird. I think, oddly, the kill team narrative has been better. The fact they're focusing on this planet is actually really cool,
single planet that's new, and the feature of the big gun and all that stuff, that's something they've not really touched on before. And I liked it. And then from past the launch of Hivestorm, that's it. Like, why wasn't there a narrative mini-series on Warhammer Plus about it? That would have been a great opportunity to push it and maybe do a 40k scenario around the gun. Make something there was opportunities to not have to spend lots of money on it, but just to make it feel included, perhaps.
I do feel like this has been the best theme of Kill Team narrative-wise that we've released. The fact it actually all followed through, I think, is pretty cool. Yeah. We'll get onto Typhon
I liked Gallowdark.
I think Gallowdark had the best up until this season. I think this season's theme made way more sense. Because
that felt like Space Hulk 2 in a weird sort of way.
Well, the problem is the first book built up Gallowdark too much because they were like, you're going to have rooms parts of the Space Hulk which are toxic wastes, fusey, no ships, and then we just got walls everywhere. Walls for every box.
Now you got cardboard tokens to play missions in White Dwarf.
Yeah. But it's so Mercenary says, but it's not like Vocus is a secret. So the thing is, you generally as a playtester, you're working 24 to 18 months in advance. So that's why they would have kept the terrain secret, because
they would have had the footprints at best.
Yes.
And maybe told how tall the heights were on the floors, then approximations of what the floors would have been like, right?
So it would have just been very vague. From my experience, it would have just said it's going to be like
it's got a couple of floors,
and
it's this size thing.
They would said it's like a city. That's probably what they would have been told. Because the thing is, you just when you're working, their terrain set is more important, because if it leaks to 3D printers, people just 3D print their terrain. So
it doesn't take long. Yeah, because they can scan it as well. If they literally have a physical copy of it, it's done in 24 hours.
So it's a whole complex thing with playtesters, and because it's the thing is, I get where playtesters are coming from. If you're doing it for free, this is your payment. But it's also really rare you find playtesters that don't want to use it for their own advantage. But go on.
Yeah, you almost need to have playtesters that aren't that good, but good enough. If you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know where you're coming from.
If they're podiuming, they're probably too good that there's that temptation. But if there's someone that's kind of doing slightly better than average, has a good understanding of the game, all this, maybe that's enough. I don't know.
Well, it's very rare because I could do it.
Yeah.
I know some of the playtesters currently can do it. Yeah. The funniest thing when I got made a playtester for Underworlds, I was like, I think I'm going to retire competitively. I think I'm just going to focus on playtesting now. And then Games Workshop was like, no, please don't do that. They were like, no, please keep playing. And I was just like, oh, okay. All right, fine.
Yeah.
So I wonder if Sanctifiers got playtested on Octarius. That might be it. Maybe. So that's the thing. We don't know how they were playtested. I still
played on Nackmund.
Yeah, I still think boxes are tested against each other because that's how we used to test. But other playtesters, they're not. I don't know. But
because they might be bringing their biases, right? Like if someone's a Corsairs main, they're going to test them against Corsairs, and they go, "Well, this team's shite because I'm beating them with my Corsairs."
Well, that's why I really liked my playtest team because we had me, like obviously the hyper competitive Underworlds guy who literally was winning everything. Then we had another competitive player, the narrative casual player, and someone who was just like in between. So we could bounce it back. And when I was playtesting stuff, the way I would gauge stuff, I would go like, okay, how much effort do I need to do? Here's the broken stuff. How much effort am I having to put into this team to play it? And if I need to put tons of effort to make this work, I take that as a bad sign because, I mean, for the casual player, I think they're not going to understand this team. And if I have to put all this effort to make it work, basically, it's bad.
If you can make it sing with medium effort as a good player, that means your average Joe should at least be able to pick it up.
Yeah, and it's just the issue is, like, the problem is, as a playtester, it's difficult because you're literally doing it for free. I got historically paid £1. So I did ask, can I have my £1 as a giant check, like, you know, the giant charity checks? And they said they would ask, and the response was, everyone found it funny because they were like, that's actually a good point. No one has ever asked them for that, but the cost of the giant check would outweigh the cost of the £1. So they will not do it. I was like, just give me a giant check. And I was just like, no. It's fine. But the cool thing is Typhon. I'm actually really hyped for Typhon.
Yeah.
Honestly, the Tyranids sound absolutely broken. They do. Apparently, they can still burrow under. So the Raveners thing is their ability to burrow because they're Raveners. So
it's a redeploy.
So I think it's their version of fly. So the way I think it works is it's fly, but you can't end on vantage points because you're barren under the ground.
Well, makes sense. You're two-dimensional, right?
Apparently, they can still burrow under Gallowdark walls, which makes sense. But oh my gosh!
Yeah, they go down. They go into the air ducts below or something. Yeah, makes some sense, right?
Yeah. So I think the reason is they're 40 mil bases, so it's to get around being like base blocked and blocked by barricades and stuff. So they could they should be movement 8 inches, by the way, because they're I think 14-inch move on 40k.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe they burrow slower.
Yeah. So they would burrow 8 inches. But they would charge 10. So the offset is like you burrow. Yeah. But they look really cool.
Depends how much it costs to burrow.
It'll just be apparently in the live stream they said they might have a central line where you like people might hear the notifications. That should be off. For my phone. Apologies if you are. I will figure out how to work out for the next one. But the issue is it's like I believe they make like a central burrow that you do after deployment maybe, and then you can like hop in and then hop out of the burrow so your opponent kind of knows where you're going to burrow.
So it signposts where you come through. Yeah, that makes sense. So almost being like a blip point. That
kind of.
If it was just freely, you could just move without there being any consequences. You're then basically saying, let's just take the terrain off the board.
Kind of. But the thing is they're 5 models. I think they're going to be 18 wounds. If they're following 40k, they should be a 5-up save, but I could see them being a 4-up save. They have lost the thorax weapons, so they've lost the chest weapons. So, but they now have specialists. So you've got the skink leader, the guy with the Jurassic Park like skin flap, from Jurassic Park 1. Then you've got the kind of enhanced sensors one who senses stuff. It's got like all the antennae. Then you've literally got someone.
So it's almost a comms guy, perhaps.
Kinda. He senses stuff. So that's how he senses fear specifically.
They're afraid.
Yeah. One that injects you with poison. One that literally looks like Bane, who I'm going to call Bane, like the Bane Ravener. It's like, oh yes, I found you. But he spits venom.
He's got venom in his tank then.
Exactly.
Okay.
He literally looks like Bane. It's crazy. I don't know how they don't see that. And then you've got a crusher, a guy with crushing claws. So the big guy who wrecks stuff. And then people say like, if it can wreck through like walls and stuff, why would you do that, John? And I was like, because you can, because it's so cool. And then you can optionally build
one as a warrior. It's like the whole thing of like Breacher Boy.
Yeah.
It's not that impactful, but it was really fun that you could. Yeah. It's like I kept doing it because I could.
The interesting thing is the leader does have rending claws, so rending claws might be an option. So I think I've bought like, at least from what I could find online, the last box of Raveners. So I've built a warrior, which I'll paint up in, you know, because I can, and then I'll keep the other two. I was going to build the other two warriors, but I'll hold off because I have like 8,000 points of Tyranids. After Eldari, Tyranids are my thing. So I started playing 40k with Eldari, Craftworld Eldar. Then I moved on to Black Templars. Well, Black Templars are my second army. As you do as a 40k player, you don't just stop at one army. Because I wanted to do Space Marines, but I was like, Black Templars are cool. They're knights. They're black. They're easy to paint. They're really cool. I like all the iconography. They look nice. Then I found out about the fandom and what happened to the fandom about like 5 years ago, and I try not to associate with the Black Templar fandom. And then Tyranids.
Awkward.
Yeah, it is awkward. It's like, I like Black Templars. I like Black Templars too. Now here's all this forbidden stuff, and I'm like,
let's hate people together.
Yeah, I was like, oh no, we're into this faction for different reasons.
We like the iconography, literally.
Yeah, but Tyranids I love, so I've been waiting for Tyranids for ages because my High Fleet is High Fleet Agapostamon. So it's basically it was before Contrast, but it's the yellow Cassandora yellow, but it's just yellow Tyranids over white. It looks really good. And then I have a shiny green carapace, which is like dark to light green, and then gloss varnished. So it looks like they're insects, but they look cool. So I'm waiting for that. Then you've got like an AdMech team called the Battleclade, and they exist. Yeah. That's generally everyone's reaction to they exist.
I looked and went, finally they've done new servitor kits.
The servitors
but at the same time I went, Space Marines don't have them anymore. They're just going to be for AdMech, which is a shame.
Yeah, that's weird. But I was just like, look, they look great, but the issue is the Tyranids just look way better. And the Tyranid terrain, they've literally just got all the Forge World terrain and made it plastic. A little bit smaller, but also plastic. Yeah. And I was just like, it's perfect. It's amazing. I can forget about the meta for now and just go, it's Tyranid time. But I assume you have the same thoughts on the box?
The terrain actually excited me a lot less because I went, that looks like it's going to be a thing that doesn't really matter. Like, because my gut feeling after the fact that I've got a bunker still on sprue from Christmas, I've got another version of the bloody statue. I've already got that statue because I have the Sisters of Battle terrain that it was originally from. But it's just like, I look at it and go, is it just more terrain that's just never going to get used because I'm playing Volcus match play?
Well, I think this one is going to be bought by 40k players for... I think you could definitely use the terrain for 40k. Like, you can easily Tyrannidify a board, and they will release it separately. But it's just so nice. Like, it's just so good. Like, my favorite Forge World campaign book was the Anphelion Project with all the Tyrannid stuff. And it's like, they basically just brought that back. The Raveners are basically 3rd edition Raveners, which is cool. It's great. Like, this Ravener kit is still horrible to build, by the way. I can't wait to build the new one. There's no numbering. They barely hold. There's so much plastic glue I've used on this and like sprue glue to make it work. It's, you know, but they look great, and I think it'll be fun. Yeah, no, it's just I hate that kit. Like the new Tyranid stuff has generally been really good, but I think that's all the news we've covered up pretty much. I think we're up to date. We've buy tickets for the Goonhammer Open May 10th. That'll be fun, especially if you like Sanctifiers. We'll have the trophy belt. So I still didn't realize we had 2 tickets for that. So I think this one's going to be 2 golden tickets as well, and you get the trophy belt. So. There's currently only 2 people with the trophy belt. Yeah,
I have an idea for how we can sort out the second one as well.
Yeah.
I have an idea that makes it slightly more interesting than just second place. Here you go.
yeah. We've got some surprises. I also bring a lot of snacks because the thing is, I learn it from other players, but I'm just like, it's people like it because no one else brings the Costco level snacks that I do. You come to my events, you get 2-bite brownies, 2-bite cinnamon rolls, and Costco cookies. They're amazing.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
it really made me feel full all weekend.
Yeah, even like it's the funny thing is the Goonhammer people have started catching on that I bring these things, so they keep coming around like, "Can we have some?" I was like, "Yeah, have as much as you like." And then I think we even had some 40k players this time have the snacks, so it was like great. But that should be fun. And I think the only thing for April. It's my birthday in 2 days. Yay!
Oh, yay! Happy 21st, John.
I know. I'm finally growing into my age. Isn't it your birthday this month?
Yeah, my birthday is in 11 days.
Oh, nice. Yeah, we're old, so...
Thanks for forgetting.
Yeah, no, I know. But that's why, because it's our birthdays, you should buy Scrivo a coffee. And
that's nice of you.
Yeah. Because you can share that thing in the chat where people can.
I can.
Because
that was very seamless.
Yeah, don't worry. I just literally the most things I learned about games from Games Workshop was just like, this is how you shield. They didn't tell me. I just absorbed it. But Scrivo designed everything you can see, even this face. And I'll be using Scrivo for more
I made
stuff.
sure the eyebrow was designed exactly as it is.
It's very important. Actually, yeah, that brings me on. Part of the reason I'm so my new team, because I'm switching off Hand of the Archon for this meta, is Angels of Death, because Angels of Death can play around. You may have seen my stuff I built, because I was watching Cult of Pain. I actually liked how they did the Primaris by shaving off all the stuff on the chest and making them look more knightly and legion-y. Because if you look, I think Games Workshop has actually learned, because if you look at the new Primaris stuff, even the Space War stuff, a lot of them have the older heads and the like barely nothing on the chest.
They have like a gem where the Aquila would be.
Yeah, and it just looks more interesting. It looks
because all the Phobos stuff doesn't really have Aquilas because they've got space to put the utility straps. Yeah. But they've also got normally a skull, and you can graze that off. So you're not doing the robes for your Black Templar.
Oh no,
Angels of Death.
I am. Yeah. I'm still doing the robes.
Because the Crusader kit is perfect for that, because it's just a lot of robes. That's what I've used for my Dark Angels, for my Angels of Death, for my Risen kill team.
Risen. Well, I bought the Crusader box, then I bought 2 Assault Marine bodies and the grenade arms.
Yeah.
Then I also bought 5 intercessors so I could have the grenade launcher.
Yeah.
So I've currently built, so I've currently built 15 of them. Oh, and I also had the Castellan I got from the original Black Templar release, which I bought when they got Primarisized.
So it's captain. Yeah.
And then on eBay, I got a cheap Marshal, because everyone's like, we don't need Marshals, so buy this for £10.
Because you get that in the stock collection. Yeah. The Combat Patrol's got one in, because I've been eyeing it up.
So I got that. I also did spend on bit sites again to buy a Sword Brother to make a Sword Brother with Plasma Pistol and Chainsword, even though I'll never use it, but just in case. So I have 15 models. I built a 16th to use as a test model, which I'm very happy I remembered to do last night, because I was like, thank goodness I did a test model this time, because I learned to iron out the kinks I learned from the painting guide I watched for Cult of Pain. But I'm just playing those because I'll live up to the channel brand, because you'll see what Scrivo designed. Because I used to be a Stormcast, because I used to play Underworlds, and I was like, now I'm into Kill Team at 40k again. I'll be a Black Templar. I'd look weird as an Eldar. And I was like, you know what? The meta calls for it, so I will play Angels of Death. And I've actually found them quite fun. I used the Stern Guard. No, not the Stern Guard. What's the Champions of the Chapter called? You know that it's like the new command squad, the Primaris command squad.
Oh, Company Heroes. Yeah, there's some nice models in that.
I use the Company Heroes Heavy Bolter, because the cool thing about that dude, he's like half aggressor, half normal Stern Guard, because the left side where he's holding the gun facing the enemy is more armored. So on his left gauntlet, it's got like a huge van brace, and the left side of the leg is more armored to represent that's where the shots are going to hit. It looks so cool. It's so much better.
I use the Stern Guard Heavy Bolter.
Yeah.
And when you put it next to the Heavy Intercessor, they're the same size, so it's fine.
Yeah, it looks cool.
I was worried, and then I saw it and went, oh, I'm going to do that because he's got robes, because my whole thing was they all had to have robes.
Yeah. Well, one thing I did, I made my Grenadier a Death Watch veteran. So I actually did some research, and then they were like, oh, if they survive the Death Watch and come back, the Death Watch shoulder pad goes from the left to the right.
To the right.
Yeah. And I did that, and then someone was like, you did the Death Watch shoulder pad run, and I was like, hold on, I read the narrative.
If they come straight back, they often keep the layout for the left arm briefly.
Yes.
If they're just going straight back into action. Because I've got for I think it was 8th edition 40k, you had veteran intercessors. So I did a squad of them all as Death Watch, but with Dark Angel shoulder pads to go with my Dark Angels. Because I was like, I just wanted them to look different.
But I do enjoy the freedom you've got with Angels of Death, and they're very flexible, even from a gameplay standpoint. So I really enjoyed the modeling side, and now I'm actually starting to enjoy the gameplay side. My friend, Nick from Crossfire Games, which I have an affiliate link and Discord code, is giving me their tokens, and I'm buying their cards, which should arrive on my birthday. And I have a lot of time off, kind of. So I'm going to try and speed paint. No, I want to paint this team properly because I love Black Templars. So I'm going to paint them up as if I would my 40k army. So they're going to basically be Armageddon veterans in the dunes. So I'm going to go with like sandy yellow bases. Yeah. With
the black you need to.
Yeah, because it's nice contrast. And I actually doing more research. I've done a lot of research instead of just like thinking about the meta. That actually Black Templars don't have they can have like uniformed weapon casings, but generally they're more individualistic in that point. So like their plasmas and flamers are yellow, but you can also have them yellow or paint them red or paint them black or just paint them silver. So it looks really cool. We'll quickly answer chat because chat's been quite active.
Yes.
Hot take, I love Battleclade. They are Mechanicus the video game, the kill team. That's true. I think Battleclade are going to be fun. They're going to be the more rules dense kill team where they're gonna, because they from the way Games Workshop said, because I'm not a playtester, they sap the motive force. They can sap the motive force from each other, which is like basically machine energy to empower themselves. So there's going to be a lot of like, I'm going to depower this operative to power up this operative, kind of like how comms works. And I think they look cool. I'm a bit disappointed they reused the tech priest, but that tech priest looks cool. I'm actually...
It doesn't surprise me because that model, they've released it on its own since Blackstone Fortress, but it's giving him a home.
Yeah.
Like the way that the all the Cryptex got given a home in Hyrotech.
Yeah. I mean, I have a fear you might have to buy other tech priests, like the fat floating guy with his big cannon. But we'll see. Hopefully I'm wrong. I love being wrong. If I'm right about that, oh well. Not sure.
We'll have to see.
Yeah. Does GW even listen? Heard 40k playtesters said before they gave feedback and GW ignore it. So they do listen, but it's complicated because the guy who got me kicked out, to be fair, I got myself kicked out, but the guy who pushed me to get kicked out, he eventually got kicked out from the company because it turned out he was ignoring feedback from playtesters and other developers. So they do actually take it very seriously, but it depends. You have to remember 40k's had a complicated history with its playtesters where a lot of them were kicked out and a lot of them are upset. So I'm not saying they're wrong, but there's
a
always
lot of internal, they keep it quite locked into the company, and each of the major, the primary systems, so Kill Team, Age of Sigmar and 40k have all got a balance lead.
Yes.
So there is a person actually responsible for that more than just writing actual rules. So there's someone there to just correct things. So in theory, they take it seriously.
Oh yeah, I mean, if some more fun, I potentially became a playtester again, not recently, ages ago, and apparently it flagged up as like an internal alarm because when they found out, they were like, you can't have this guy, he's banned. And they were like, why? Is like, no one remembers because the guy who got him banned doesn't work for the company anymore. So it's like, it's funny when people say I'm a playtester because I'm literally not allowed to be. I'm not sure 40k players will use it. It's not L-shaped building. They don't mind. They're fine.
We like good terrain. The problem is the game itself requires you to use that terrain. It's like saying playing kill team boards that are open. It's like you wouldn't.
Exactly. It's like say we only like Mechanicus canisters. Oh, Gaunt says his son's birthday is this week too. Nice.
Whoop, whoop.
Brax says, I have the Imperial Guard, the Star Set, Striking Scorpions, and Drukhari. What should I get next for Kill Team? Actually, I highly recommend Angels of Death because they are a great modelling opportunity.
If they've got the Star Set, they should have them then, right?
Oh, gosh, you're right. Oh, God. Okay, let's see. So you have Space Marines, you do have Plague Marines, you've got Striking Scorpions, and you have Drukhari. I think you need more of another Chaos team. So I wouldn't recommend Blooded. I hate it, but I actually would recommend Goremongers. But if you don't have Goremongers, Felgor are actually pretty interesting. It's just Felgor.
It depends on your playstyle, right? Like
those are all Felgor
of a style of playstyle, right?
Yeah, they're
the
a
Imperial Guard.
Team. You know, you've got very shooty teams. So having Felgor, even though I hate goats, be fine. The team you like most, that's a good answer. That's why I recommend. Yeah. Daniel says, hi guys, could you please help me figure out how to make attention of GW to a question about abilities after an operative capacity? If you just put it in my FAQ channel on my Discord, I am sending off the FAQs this week or next week. I'll collate them this weekend. So if you put in the FAQ channel, I will make sure it goes to GW. I'm not a playtester though. Maybe some Banshees for the blades. Oh, you could expand if you don't if you only have the Striking Scorpions.
And Dire Avengers.
Yep.
Because that's really big, right?
Yes. The nice thing about Angels of Death is that they're nerf proof. That is incorrect. Any team is actually vulnerable to. The thing I like about the kill team balance process at the moment, especially with the new balance lead, I have faith in the game because of the balance lead. What they've done is actually what we've always asked for in the last balance data slate, where not only did they do buffs and nerfs, they did quality of life adjustments to make internal balance better for factions, which is what I'm hoping to see more of.
Yeah.
Which is spoilers for one of my videos this week.
For the picking a faction as well, maybe avoid stuff that's from the first season, the first year.
I would avoid stuff from season 1.
Just because it does rotate out.
Yeah, those Yassified teams are going to fall off the classification list around September, October. So
they'll have rules for the edition,
and they'll be released for the edition. They go off of sale when the next edition drops. Yeah. The Thane cannot be assigned Grand Strokers after he's died. Yes. I'll check out the Chaos teams there. There we go. I find Felgor actually pretty easy to paint as a Chaos team. I used Notley's guide for like the Nurgle flesh. So the way I did it was, Notley did it. It was Wraithbone. Then I think it was a thinned wash of Agrax, and then the Nurgle Pox, not Rattling Grime, the Nurgle Pox wash.
Yeah,
the Nurgle Pox wash, and then I just dry brushed it. Not Rakar flesh, Pallid Witch. No, I think it was Rakar.
So Mercenary Q's put in the chat. He's curious that they're curious what they'll replace Legionaries with. I think that's already Nemesis Claw technically.
Yeah, so I have broached the idea to Games Workshop, which I want to do a video about, is called Evergreen teams. So these are for factions I think shouldn't rotate. So my main Evergreen teams. Well, Angels of Death, Legionary,
sense, right?
And Commandos. Commandos are like very iconic to kill team, and I would personally keep Veteran Guardsmen. But it's like, I don't know. There's a lot of talk about. There's a lot of talk that internally Games Workshop might move away from the 3-year edition life cycle, but I doubt it. Yeah. It would make sense. I think it's more important for 40k and Age of Sigmar than kill team, but you don't know.
Because living edition is great, apart from when it starts to stagnate and you get to 6 or 7 years in an edition and people jump out.
I think 5 years is a good life.
Yeah, because you can hop on and hop off, and you can have a break, and it doesn't mean the edition changes. Because the 3-year cycle it can be exhausting.
Yeah, and when you do you can basically have a game last 10 years, because you can go like, oh, here's the edition for 5 years, here's it slightly improved, and then we're going to do something later 5 years. But it is the problem with kill team is without this like rotation system, we currently have nearly 50 factions. Balance is becoming really hard to do because we don't have the player base to sustain all these factions because they're like individual armies. No. 40k doesn't even have our problem. We are in a worse problem than 40k when it comes to faction spread. Will we see a Space Wolf kill team? Probably. I mean, I'm surprised we haven't seen more chapter-specific kill teams like we've seen for Chaos, especially with Phobos going.
It feels like that will be something maybe that they touch on later in the 40k edition.
Yes.
Because as the cycle goes, they try not to overlap too much with the stuff because it's a way of dripping. Like, look at Tyranids. It's 2 years since they've had a big splash release. They're now getting another kit. So it's just re-engaging with that community again. So
yeah, I mean, it's like what I would especially if they do what they've done with Chaos, instead of going like, they did go, here's a Plague Marine kill team, here's a Night Lord kill team, so we could get an Iron Warriors kill team, Alpha Legion kill team, an Alpha Legion kill team, an Alpha Legion kill team, and maybe an Alpha Legion kill team. That would be
I think you're missing the real big hit here.
The Alpha Legion?
The one that really shocked me is that they haven't done an Emperor's Children one to go with their big splash. They don't often do that, but I think that would have been really clever to really kind of get the hype in 2 game systems. But
I think they'll do that later, but I kind of think we would get Iron Warriors next. That just kind of feels like it would work for Kill Team. Because what are the other legions left apart from Alpha Legion?
I think we've got a really interesting one. So if you look at the Emperor's Children Codex,
the
Emperor's Children traditionally have cultists.
Oh yes, they don't have cultists.
But they do not have cultists in their book. So look at Jackals as an example of how it's approached. And to some extent, what they did do in Age of Sigmar with Tzeentch when they did the Karak Acolytes.
Yeah.
They went, here's your god-specific mortals. I think we're just going to see that.
Yeah,
and
it
would be really cool, right?
Yeah.
Like, it makes sense. And then it's a slightly less yet another elite kill team. And they can do the weird thing where they go 6 or 9 operatives because that's their numbers, right?
Oh, yes. So that would work. I mean, I agree with what you said. That makes more sense for the mortal followers. Yeah. But like for the Space Marine side, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, we might not get a Raven Guard kill team, but an Imperial Fist kill team would make sense. You know, it's just like, but I think they go like
defensive. The play ups their archetypes. Like you could. I'm still to this day surprised they haven't done in the narrative with the Dark Angels. There's this whole thing where there's Fallen that are being redeemed, they're being brought into the fold. They didn't do a kit for them other than the Inner Circle Companions, which are totally not them, but they are. That would have been a great little kill team, or even like actual Fallen, like a hodgepodge of like, here's an upgrade kit that you shove onto Legionary and make some really cool dynamic models. That felt like such an opportunity missed.
I agree. I think it's the downside of having wholly new kits only for kill team. We've kind of lost that upgrade sprue because the problem is I actually like the upgrade sprues, but a lot of people just hated them. But now we're outside of the upgrade.
If they're clever, it's good. Like the Nemesis Claw, you look at it and if you break it down properly, you do see that there's the shared model pieces, but it's different enough that they don't just look like the same kit.
Yeah. So it's a shame. I mean, I'm surprised we haven't got a homunculus kill team yet for like Hand of the Archon, like Drukhari, homunculi.
They've got so many missing kits. Their big splash release, whenever they finally get their book.
Lady Malaise.
It feels like it's going to happen. Yeah. Oh, did you see that? Yeah. Did you see that? Interesting fact. Yeah. You beat me to it. Like Azerman was as well. So it feels like Arcs of Omen may have cut shorter than it should have originally.
Well, so it has the same year printing as Hand of the Archon, which are from her Cabal. So they were probably designed at the same time that they were supposed to be
specifically her. It's like the dice is her symbol, right?
Yeah. It's on her arm. You can see the mark of her Cabal. Yeah. So like, ooh, spoilers. But it does align with a lot of like, because the funny thing is people go like, John, how do you know stuff? And it's like, because I have a lot of people telling me stuff and then I don't know if it's true or not because a lot of people just go like, oh, I know this. And you're like, yes.
But do you? It's like, we can all watch a Valrak video and go, huh, cool. That's that word being missaid again.
Yeah. But it's
love you really, Valrak.
But the thing is, I like it being confirmed because then I can just, instead of sharing it, not only like being problematic for myself, it means I have more confirmed correct sources. So it's nice. Yes. It's nice in that way. And it's
I keep finding that when I hear these things, I'm like, but do you? And then I hear it from a source I trust. I'm like, maybe then.
I just like hanging out in coffee shops in Nottingham. You hear so many interesting things.
I spent all weekend there, Tom. John.
Yeah. I love coffee shops in Nottingham. Danny Cremas, Thane, Cognitar, and Broodbrother Commander do not require. Oh yeah, they're just doing rule stuff. Sound Marines for the orchestra. I would love the orchestra.
Yeah, that would be brilliant. There's some great opportunity there.
Exodites. We should get Exodites. I think Exodites will be coming. It's just
that makes sense to be as a kill team, right?
Yeah. But I think the interesting thing. So after Typhon, we'll close out with this. After Typhon, we should be moving on to the next edition. So the interesting thing, we don't know what's going to happen with the next edition.
Next season, you mean, not edition?
So next season. Yeah, you're right.
God, spoilers.
So I don't think we might get a summer box, but it depends how early Typhon drops. If Typhon drops in like May, then we're probably getting a summer box. If we don't get a summer box, the season is probably going to drop early August. It used to drop early August, and then they pushed it back for whatever their own reasons.
How long was it? So it was end of January they announced Blood and Zeal, right?
No. They announced it to me.
No, I'm on about publicly. Like this being announced.
They announced Blood and Zeal like literally a month ago.
So that's quite quick turnaround. And Brutal and Cunning, that was quite a quick turnaround as well, wasn't it?
That was announced, I think, literally 3 or 4 weeks after. No, 4 weeks after the edition started.
Yeah, so the turnaround may make sense.
They
for 40K,
have had shipping issues.
There is some big stuff coming in 40K quite quickly, it seems like. So maybe they're clearing out this ready for the big summer stuff, because normally there is a new something box in the summer, right? Like
we're still waiting.
Last year we had Hivestorm. Yeah, so whether it's Heresy or something like that, like it's not going to be AOS, it's not going to be 40k.
So it's due for Heresy, but there's nothing been announced for it. But it's definitely the next season. Interestingly, we might lose Beta Decima because technically we should maybe lose Gallowdark. But the thing is, Gallowdark is so popular, even for 40k, they'll probably just keep it. Whereas Beta Decima, while it did sell out, I don't think it's really being used. So,
no. So
and no one
the interesting
really
one is the UKTC are using Volcus and Gallowdark for their events, right?
Yes.
So that tells me they've got access to terrain for that, and they're not just going to get it to use for a year.
Maybe a lot of it is TO provided. That's the downside, because usually the UKTC has this their own terrain, right? But for Kill Team, they've just been basically getting the TOs to find the terrain, which, you know, the good thing about the UK community is we provide the terrain for our events. So
yeah.
But I'm kind of hyped, especially with, we'll have Yassification. So the Yassified teams from year one will go. We'll have Worlds. Worlds is a big problem, not because of like organization. There are things outside of Games Workshop's control, which I highlighted to a friend who will highlight with Games Workshop, that basically the World Championships of Warhammer in America in November might have problems. It
might be from a few countries, right? Because at the moment there is some uncertainty politically.
So there were always like visa issues. We always had last minute cancellations because people like refused at the border or had their visa declined at the last minute. And I don't think that was with a good. Anyway, it's not going to get better, you know. So
it's just going to be interesting, right? And I don't think that's going to change. And it just means maybe other people won't like choose to use their tickets either. So.
Well, this is the thing. So it harps back to the money thing, because like even the person who won Sheffield, they were like, "Oh, you've got a golden ticket to Worlds, but in case you don't get funding for it, the trip is going to cost you around £1,700 because the flight is about basically 1,700. No, so the flight is around 700 if you go economy, maybe like 500 if you go some accursed route where you spend like 20-hour layovers.
Ship yourself in a box.
The hotel is really expensive. So a lot of the UK players who have won tickets are going like, oh yeah, we're not gonna go. Yes, the UK does have a travel warning. I'm going to America in 5 weeks. I have to uninstall Discord when I go. You know, like Goonham were very much like, oh yeah, you just upload your phone, wipe it, and then anyway. So it's gonna be fun. But yeah, you know, we've got big events. Come to the May Goonhammer Open. That's going to be really fun.
Find that on Eventbrite. That is specifically, but you can buy tickets at Eventbrite. You get to hang out with us.
Yeah.
You'll get to hear us babbling on like we are here on the stream, but in person, which...
Yeah, I am not
streaming. I don't
streaming.
know if that's better.
Yeah, I am not streaming
We're not streaming.
Because I might not have the day before off, and it's just a lot of work. If it's a 2-day, we always stream. One day we're going to test out not streaming and see if we can make the event better. Because while everyone else felt the event ran really well, I felt it didn't.
I felt. The challenge was that if there was very specific rules questions, there was only one person that could be asked, and you were on microphone. So it was just like, this is not helpful.
Yeah, so it's like this time... I know people like the streaming, but it's just the other thing for streaming, we need a table boss. And the thing is, we couldn't use Charles all the time because he had to make sure the event ran. Yeah. So it's just like a lot of work.
So there's things we could do, like we could have just a table, but again, it's still all the setup. It's just not really worth it, I don't think. Like if you're not going to do it well, there's not much point. Like,
yeah, because I was actually looking at streaming some of the UKTC events, and the issue is, it's like, you know, it'd be me and you, but then if you're free, but then we need a table boss, and then it's just like...
And that's giving up a whole weekend. It's a real hard thing to ask someone to do.
People really
I did a lot of this for Age of Sigmar, and it's really good and really enjoyable, but it's quite a thankless task, and it costs a lot of money for you even as a volunteer, and it's not ideal. So
yeah, because it's like people really enjoyed the stream, which was great, but it's really a lot of work, and you know, it's a really difficult thing to do for streaming because you effectively have to stream for ages. Like, I'm talking about a day. You have to stream for like years, and then it'll pay off because then people go like, oh, he's the streamer guy. I'll watch this event because he's streaming it, and like I'll chip into that. But it's like so much work. You need minimum 3 people, and ideally you probably want 5. and it's just a lot to get.
Yeah.
So, but the Goonhammer Open may all be fun. If there's, I think there's still tickets. In 2 weeks, you've got the Notts Kill Team event in April. Then you've got the Norwich event in April, the week after. The Friday before that, which I'm going to as well, is Warhammer World, which is sold out for 1 day. So I'm going to Warhammer World in Norwich. Then there's 2 in May in London. There's the Warhammer World May event, which hasn't sold out yet, but it's the golden ticket, and I'm pretty sure.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah, it's still up there.
What date is it?
I think it's because I'm in America, so I can't go to that one. The 24th and 25th of May. That is a golden ticket event, and it should be a fully paid event in terms of, I believe Warhammer World will fully pay for your flight and hotel if you win a golden ticket from there. Because this guy did, so I'm pretty sure they'll keep
I'm free that weekend. I'm going to have to look that up now.
Yeah, you and Adam should go.
Yeah, get myself my golden ticket.
Yeah, and
because it'll be best sport and best sports and stuff matters.
Exactly. You just go like
events, right?
Just like put those knee pads on and get your golden ticket. And then in June, I think you got the Bristol GT. Then there's nothing in July. August is WTC. But yeah, there's a lot of events.
And then September, there may be a Goonhammer Open.
Yeah, because I can't run it because I'm going to be in America, trapped at Nova, having fun at Nova.
They'll get a real TO in, is what I've heard.
Oh, Nova tickets also go on sale this week on, I believe, the 10th of April. So I am going to buy my Nova tickets. It's partly why I'm not at WTC, because WTC, for some reason, at the same time as Nova. But there's so many events. You should go for Kill Team. And that even if you don't like the meta, you can just go and have fun, because everyone's really fun. You know, that's the good thing about the community. Everyone's super chill. I don't think we've really... I mean, people are terrified for that May Warhammer World event. I'm very happy I can't make it to that, because I'm pretty sure there are going to be a lot of Sanctifiers. Because to be fair, if you win the Warhammer World event, that flight is like £1,700.
So what you're telling me is I need to paint my Sanctifiers up that I'm totally was going to sell just to take to that event.
Yeah, I mean, you know, if you think
there's time for them to correct them by then, right?
Unlikely, bro. Unlikely. Because the funniest thing, when I won my first golden ticket at Nova, I think because they accidentally let me book the tickets at first so I could see the flight prices. I think back then they did it in New Mexico. So they had the ranch and stuff in New Mexico at that 5-star resort. So I think it cost them like £3,000 to fly and house me at the New Mexico Championships. So that event, when I went to Nova, easily paid for itself more than twice. And I was just like, wow, Warhammer's great. What happened when I was a kid? This didn't happen at Warhammer. But that's actually what I really like about Games Workshop with they're really going at it when they can for the golden ticket stuff. So, but I think, is there anything else we need to touch upon, Scrivo? I think we've covered everything. We're just rambling now. We can catch you at 6++. You've got a lot of 40k content, and especially if you like Dark Angels. Or Dark Angels. I've fallen. I've fallen. Help me up, brother.
And if you're in the UK and you're going to Salute on Saturday, I will be there with a camera walking around.
Is that this Saturday?
That's this Saturday.
Are you going to be at Salute?
Yeah. I've got a press pass. I'm going and doing some filming stuff.
I have the weekend off. I might come.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, Salute.
Yeah.
Go Salute.
I think Paulie from Sky Splinters, from Sky... My blank in my words.
Oh gosh, I just remembered that name.
Paulie, yeah, he's coming along. And my brain is just gone.
No, I'll find it. You've made me.
Sky Serpent. My brain is awful at this stuff.
Real Space Raiders. Space Raiders.
The Eel Space Raiders as of last week.
Oh gosh, I'm gonna crash Salute. I'm gonna say, Rob, I'll teach you how to play Kill Team, my friend.
Don't worry, I've already warned him. I saw him on the weekend and told him you might come, and he was like, "Oh, I better get my bodyguard and my restraining order sorted." Brilliant.
I got dice for him. I'll say I always watch his. I love Rob, but Salute's great.
So awkward. So awkward.
Well, thank you for joining us. We actually should be doing more. What we might actually do is, if we can't do it live, we may just start recording them and then putting them as This will be a podcast. I'll figure out how to cut it down.
Yeah.
So this is that
might be a thing to do. We might just do like actual edited down videos of it, but we'll see. We know that the way that we're currently doing these, the whole thing behind Skype's disappearing, so we might not be able to do it, but I'll probably figure out a way of doing it.
Because we have to
John
figure out how to work. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But that's pretty much it. We'll be back for more live streams soon. I work shift work, so I don't know when my days off are. They're not fixed. I get my rota 3 months in advance, but it's not fixed. But thank you everyone for joining. Hope you've had a good time. You know, I like dropping some drama on the live streams. You know,
shout out to Toby Hines, who says the Fallen team in the Cipher book would make an awesome kill team.
That's true.
Agreed.
That would
and
be nice.
In the Lions book, in Lions Sons of the Forest, having like Zabriel on that lot would have been awesome.
Yeah.
Instead, we don't. We get just super normal Space Marines.
Wow. See, I mean, I thought Grey Hunters would have been a kill team, but Grey Hunters, the Wolf Guard, they're kind of like. It looks like they're doing something else with the Wolf Guard. We haven't seen this full Space Wolves release yet, so I have a feeling they're going to show off a bunch more.
There's a couple more kits, I think.
Yeah, 100%.
At least a couple of characters. Like I think we'll see a couple of named characters, if I was to guess, just because we haven't seen any.
I'd be very worried if I liked Thunderwolves. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But no matter what happens with your range, there's always a chance to win and stay hopeful as long as you can roll a crit.